Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Business Enricher podcast. We are super excited for our guest today. We have an amazing guest. His name is Barry Bradham. And Barry is not just a strategist, but he's a builder, an entrepreneur at his core. He's spent decades launching, scaling, and systematizing businesses across multiple industries. Barry, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Rick Drika. I really enjoy listening to your podcast and following you lately, and really great stuff. You're changing lives, I feel.
Thank you. And thank you again, Barry, for joining us on today. And part of the show, we always start out with the why or how our guests got started. So I know you have a statement that you're not a just a strategist, but a builder. Can you tell us about your aha moment that really got you to shift from not just being a strategist, but a builder?
Yeah, absolutely. The journey of this really started into automation and CRM, and I was about 10 years old working in my stepfather's company. He was a CPA, and he did taxes professionally for clients. Um, and I would help him with a program called Act 123 back then, and I would do a lot of filing and different things for him. But it was a great experience seeing how he worked, and he worked at home. He was very relationship minded with his clients. He really cared
Mhm.
for them, part of their lives, and they would come over and spend time with him, and he would do their taxes intimately. Really got to know them. But Act 123 was just a great software, and I've always been fascinated with that, and it really wasn't until the last maybe 15 years that we started seeing it again in the form of like Salesforce and HubSpot and some of those. I know Intuit bought it, and I'm not sure what happened at that point. But in starting my own companies, um, I started growing and seeing a lot of success after a big failure, which got me to California. That's another story. And that was in real estate. But when I got here, I started an e commerce business. I knew I
Okay.
wanted something different and something that could reach people nationwide or even worldwide. And I knew that I needed to really hone my skills in web development and e commerce. That's how to reach the masses, right? And so I started doing that and started doing really well. And we manufacture advertising display products at a very good price. So much so that sign companies and ad agencies, marketing agencies all over the country buy from me and resell to their people. Flags and pop up tents and trade show booths that you see. And in 2016, I started hiring multiple people to where I had, I don't know, 9 to 12 people. And what I realized is that I had to go to work just to kind of manage and herd them because they, some of them were bad hires, but I believe not all of them. I think some of them were probably good hires. I
Mhm.
didn't have the right SOPs, those operating procedures standardized to where they knew their roles, they knew what the duties were, they knew how to stay on top. But on top of their workload, but on top of that, having KPIs that are in line with what their standard operating procedures are, so they're actually rewarded, compensated, and benefit based on doing their job. And that's
Mm.
all some things that I really needed to kind of break that back down, build that back up, and then automate certain things in my business with software and other things. And thank goodness I did that because when COVID hit, I found myself with very few employees and then none. And so I had to run, and I even got COVID for 6 weeks really bad. And I had to run and operate my company by myself during that time. And because I had these procedures in place and I went through the process of automating systems, I was able to do that and maintain, all my customers and continue doing a good job for them and to handle the business by myself. And then a year later, I was able to start hiring people back, but still, I'm doing so much larger volume that that I was doing before with only a few employees, and so that's been I owe that all to the automation of the software, and due to my passion in that area, other business leaders that I know of different capacities, different business ownership, different even nonprofit organizational roles, they've come to me and said, "Hey, I really need your help with the website." And this was during COVID, and I had the free time to help them, so I started a company, really, an automated essential suite package that helps companies to automate and grow their companies at scale, and really to do that with and they can repurpose their employees from operational type employees to sales, marketing, different higher level kind of employees. So that's been very beneficial to a lot of the businesses that I've worked with as a consultant, as a mentor, as a trainer, and even if they need me to do it as a executionist with my team. I've got my team of really strong professionals and developers and builders and system strategists and language coders and things like that. So that my passion to help them to do that, I guess, is where I leverage now my time, and I love speaking to groups of people and then developing their teams and helping them with the software
Mhm.
that I have that I offer to them. And I love talking about it because it's a game changer for business owners. If they're not utilizing it or if they're underutilizing it, then that's where my team comes into play. And we really help them to build sales systems, operational systems, things that automate their entire process, allowing them, better customer service, easier jobs for their employees, less stress for them, and they can operate and perform as a calmer CEO, chaotic on their heels kind of CEO. So I hope that explains my why. It's deep, and it has to do with personal experience and an experience that I've already encountered with people that I've worked with.
Awesome. I definitely believe it explains your why. I know um, I had similar experiences during COVID where I had more so of a swelling company because I did have some bad hires and I had to let them go. And it was tough, but I was like, okay, if I don't let them go, then my company is not going to survive. So I definitely can understand that process of restructuring and positioning yourself for growth. So when it comes to your why and positioning yourself for growth, how important is the freedom and the scalability in your journey?
Well, I don't know if this is going to fully answer it the way that you're asking it, but when properly scaling your company to me means you've got the right fit of people. I believe every business needs to have the visionary, which usually is the founder, the CEO, the executive, the business owner. That's the visionary person. But then you need somebody to handle operations, somebody that works within your company that does the day to day kind of the hustle and the grind, and they're responsible for that part of the business. And then you need a rainmaker, somebody that's always out doing business development, talking to new people,
Mhm.
pitch deck, finding new relationships that will lead to referral sources or possibly to clients. And so I believe that that's kind of the first step that most business owners need to have. You get those three people, then you can build teams under them. And that allows a lot of freedom that you're talking about. So when you get to that point, then you can stop wearing as many hats as a small solo entrepreneur. And now you're really starting to be a business owner and thinking like a business owner. That's what I coach and talk about is how to do that. And a lot of times that process is very lonely, depending on how you start. And so that's why I kind of have the community that I have. That if anybody listening, they can go to comewinwithme.com and they can connect with me, be part of a community. But that's about freedom. It's about freedom and having the time to do other things. I now own and have created seven businesses that are still functioning and scaling and automated as much as possible, always working on those systems, but I still have time to work with other business owners, and that's why it's created me a lot of freedom. And I love to vacation and travel, but I also have this part of me that I love working with businesses, and so that's what I do with my freedom is I tend to do more of that, and I can travel and do all the fun stuff with my freedom as I'm helping other business owners. I'll be in Orlando and Jacksonville and Savannah next week, and I'll golf at Hilton Head while I'm there. But I've got workshops that I'll be putting on and things that I love to do with my freedom.
Awesome, I love it. I'm originally from Jacksonville, so definitely
Okay.
love that. Um, but in your positioning of freedom, so did you wait until you had that sense of freedom before you pivoted to another industry, or were you juggling all of that at the same time?
No, I actually did the first one. I got the first one where it needed to be, and to be
Mhm.
honest, I had business owner burnout in the sign and the banner industry, and I think that probably showed a little bit. And so I knew that I needed to get other people that were talking to the customers and separate myself from that back to a business owner position. And that happened about year two of COVID, somewhere in 2021. That really happened, and I started stepping back out of that company again, and then working on the people skills of the people doing the job, and then that allowed me a lot of freedom. So with that freedom, then I saw an alignment in helping other businesses with um, developing the skills and using the platforms
Hmm.
that have helped me to be successful with that company. And with that, other opportunities came because at the root of me, I am an entrepreneur, and I saw other opportunities, and a lot of them are like DigiLink. I founded DigiLink, which is anybody listening can get a free digital business card. Go to digilink.global and get one for free. But basically, it's a digital business card that has all your information, your important links, presentation, YouTube channel, your contact information. You probably know what a digital business card is. That's what it is. And so I developed that because I saw a need that people needed to get them to the lead generation part, whether they're at a trade show and they're meeting new people or a networking event. What do you do with those contacts? And how do you make that really easy so that now you're automating that nurturing process, which could include, connecting on LinkedIn, it might include following on Instagram, it might include just saving each other's contact information. And then
Hmm.
maybe, hey, would like to have an appointment with you. Here's my calendar link. Automating all of that so that that is a 10-second duty rather than a string of follow-ups you have to remember to do manually or some employee needs to. So that is a game changer when companies start to do that and business owners start to do that.
Awesome. So, and with that, I know you mentioned that you, with your systems and your automations of how, after experiencing burnout, you started making sure you have those in place. What are some key systems and automations you think every business owner should really start with?
The CRM. If you were to start a new company, or if you have an existing company, you don't have a CRM that can help you with all things about your business, meaning lead generation, onboarding new customers, certain workflows that need to be automated, operational workflows, employee onboarding and training workflows. All of this can be done at a high level once, and then it's used time and time again. This is the way that a business owner can 1000x themselves, is by making a string of automation a little bit as you go until you have all of it in place. You save yourself over the time, the course of a year, thousands of hours of manual work just by focusing on these automated workflows. You must have a CRM, something that works well with your website. A good CRM, like what we offer, Automated Essential Suite, can actually do the job of a website, e-commerce, all of that with the needs. You can build communities, all these different things. Manage all your social media platforms in one place. Schedule recurring posts. Use RSS feeds. All of this is what I'm passionate about because that's what's helped me with my other 7 companies, and that's what's helped me with hundreds of other clients that I work with. And within 30 minutes of this launching, my phone blows up. Barry, this is incredible. Why didn't you tell me 5 years ago about this? Which I say, I did, but you weren't ready. You weren't listening. You weren't hearing me. And then they're like, you should have shook me harder. I'm like, well, that could be assault, and I'm not going to do that. You should have listened. But yeah, now the word is out, and people really know that that's something I'm passionate about and pretty good at. So that's what keeps me busy with consulting and developing teams in that area. But yeah, to answer your question, CRM and website working together, and that's the hub. That's the basis, and everything can be built on that.
And then I know one of the key things that you mentioned was onboarding for team members. So, do you, with that automation or with that system, is it more than just having like a SOP library that trains them, or do are you saying that they need to have like a specific onboarding process in place and not just a library of SOPs um, to get started?
Using this platform in that way it can be done in a lot of different ways, but people have a learning curve. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. So what I typically will, without knowing more about the individual situation, how many team members you have, how complicated their role is,
Mhm.
but the basic is to, if we identify each stages of growth as a course, then you can lay out a coursework, and they can complete that as a percentage of their progress, to where their supervisor can look to make sure that they're completing that, award some type of accolade to make them feel good about their progress,
Mhm.
and complete it with the certificate program at the end. So yeah, you can do that kind of thing. But a lot of coaches like to do that if they have a coaching program too. So that can really be modified to fit the need. And then even a community for people that are going through that. So a larger company that might have, multiple employees onboarding at one time, they could have a community where they learn and grow together as part of that system.
Awesome. And I think that based off of a lot of the systems and the number of people you have and the industry that you're in, you kind of have to create your systems based off of human behavior. And I know with you, you have some background in actually using human behavior for your communities and for coaching. And I guess my question would be, how do you approach blending human behavior and technology together, especially now where we are in the gist of AI? Like everybody is diving into it.
Yeah. The amazing thing is the relationship and the role that AI plays between humans. It saves a lot of time, but it creates a lot of structure.
Mhm,
So if you have the structure built into a software, perhaps using N8N and different, Claude and a combination of OpenAI and different types of things, all working the strengths of each one depending on what that project is. Now, what we do is we develop, basically, it's a web app that you can go to for three different types of people we have so far. If it's somebody that wants to start a new business, they don't know what it is, they can go in and answer a series of questions that I've developed with AI, different ones, different platforms, all working together, though, in a series that's going to help them uncover what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their budget is, what their time frame is, what they're really good at, what other people say they're good at, what they love doing, and then it's
mhm,
going to come up with recommendations based on that. And the human developed that, right? AI didn't develop that themselves. I developed that with my team and with my years of experience in consulting other people and developing teams. And what that does is says, okay, based on all this information, here's some business ideas that would really work well for you. Would you like to proceed with a marketing plan, a business plan, some action steps, break this into one thing that you would do every week to make your goal, that kind of thing. And that's the first part. The second one is somebody who has a business idea that they want to do, not sure where to go, how to stay on point, how to break that down into little bite-sized pieces they can do every week or every day or whatever to make sure they're moving forward towards their goal. And then lastly is for that stagnant business owner that wants to scale, they want to grow, they're experiencing burnout. How do they proceed? What's the magic, kernel of salt that they need to hear, or that most important information to help them progress and get to their goal. And we all need that. A lot of people, we know what we need to do. We've got to-do lists. Some people have to-do lists for their to-do lists. And usually when I'm consulting with business owners, I start by looking at their to-do list. And that's where a lot of things happen. It just takes, everybody can be, it gets very lonely being a business owner and an entrepreneur. And even me, we all need mentors. We all need a team of people. We all get lonely. We all need community. And that's something I try to build. Again, at comewinwithme.com, that's where people can go and connect and be part of the community.
awesome. And I definitely love that. And what advice would you give to business owners who um want to more so build communities that serve their lives and not really consume them? Because I know some of us can be consumed with the business because we don't want to let go of different aspects of the business. So, what would be your advice on that? Because I know you have that background in systems and you've experienced burnout yourself.
Oh man, two things I talk about. One, you have to kind of fall out of love with your business in a sense. Um, and I say that delicately. You still have to care. You still have to care about Jeff Bezos says you have to be obsessed with your customer, and that's so important. But you kind of have to fall out of love with your company, and you have to trust the system and the process of allowing other people to do your job. And
Mm,
that's where, if you do that right, that becomes a different job. It's a different kind of job than if you're in the company working operations and doing all that work. Now your job, instead of that, is developing that person with the skills and the tools that they need to be successful. And you're focusing on making sure that they understand the SOPs and the KPIs are in place. And now you're managing them. So now you're learning how to do your job through somebody else or through a team of other people. And I think that's the biggest thing. And so you have to fall out of love with your business. And the other thing I say is you have to learn to kind of let go, and you have to let go of some of these things and trust the process. Hiring mistakes happen, but you have to be real clear. And AI really helps in that. Being real clear on what it is you're asking for somebody, and then using AI, you can really come up with some good, deep, open-ended questions to help discover that you're getting them to talk and listening to that candidate to make sure that they have experience in this area, successful experiences, and a track record of success. And so that's really something that's important for businesses trying to get to the next level.
awesome. I definitely love it. Are there any tips or pieces of advice for you that you would like to share with the listeners on entrepreneurship or systems and automations?
First of all, you can't be an entrepreneur if you're too busy. An opportunist or an entrepreneur is an opportunist, and to be an opportunist, you have to have enough free time to be available to hear of opportunity, and you have to have enough free time to learn new technology and to learn, and to see and connect with other people doing other things, and to go to associations and trade shows and different things where you can connect with others. I'm going to Secret Knock in San Diego at the end of this month. Great place to go and connect with other business leaders. And I'd say that's the biggest thing. You have to get to this point quickly where you've automated what you can and where you have a team of people. You could outsource right now. I mean, this is a great environment to hire people in other countries if affordability is a factor. For as little as $500 or $1,000 a month, you can have an outsourced team member that speaks English and that works your schedule and can really help as a virtual assistant, but more so than that. With the virtual world that we live in, it's not just a VA anymore. They're actually a team member that's visible. They can be on your Zoom calls with you. They can be in your virtual meetings, and even can be in live meetings virtually. So there's a lot of things utilizing technology to help with that process. And and I think I might be a little off track with your question. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. And for those who are listening that want to connect with you or join your community, how would they go by doing that?
Well, I'd love it. You can find me, Barry Bradham, on LinkedIn. You could follow me, Barry Bradham Entrepreneur, on Instagram. And you can go to comewinwithme.com, complete just a real quick form, but you're going to get free tools and some free gifts and worksheets and things to help you with a lot of the things that I've talked about, but as well as connecting with me and personally and with my community and a lot of people that I do business with. It's a great place to start if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling like I don't know where to go, or you're overwhelmed and you need to block the noise out and really go to a good space, then you could do that at comewinwithme.com.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Barry, for joining the show on today. I definitely love how you shared your experiences and in the ways that you've basically built automation so that people will understand that, yeah, you have to have SOPs, but you also have to go a little bit further and have systems to support those SOPs because some people have SOPs without systems, and that's chaos. And so thank you again for sharing that and highlighting that on the show today.
Well, you're welcome, Rick Drake. I really enjoyed my time here. You're a very smart woman, and I'm very blessed and happy that we're connected now.
Awesome. And to all of our listeners who tuned in to the show today, thank you for listening. And we look forward to having you to listen in on our next episode. Until next time, stay living your purpose and enjoying your journey on the road to be an amazing business owner.
Hallelujah.